So tell me a little bit about how you got started into music.
Oh, great question. I have been doing music for pretty much as long as I can remember, but when I was 17, I'd written a handful of songs, and my parents were listening to me play them through my bedroom door and decided that they wanted to try to help me get them recorded. And so, pretty serendipitously, my dad met a producer in Costco. He was actually demoing the pianos in Costco, which I don't think is something they do there anymore, but at least
Mm.
12 years ago they did. And so we ended up meeting with this guy, and he took us out to Nashville. And I, at the time, was making blues rock music. And so I recorded an EP in RCA Studio A. A few years later, I got out of that recording contract and started working on producing my own stuff and working with a local producer. And I've been doing this project for the last 5 years about.
You like it? You like working with a producer? Oh,
Yeah, no, I love working with a producer. I tend to do a lot of like the demo production on my end now, so a lot of the preliminary, if I can talk, preliminary arranging, and then I'll take it to a producer, and then they're able to kind of fill it in where I was maybe lacking and help elevate it to the next level. So I feel like the more brains, sometimes the better a song can turn out.
yeah, totally. Um,
Yeah.
so what kind of what's your what's one of your favorite songs that you've written that you you still love?
Good question. There is a song of mine called Fever Dream that I put out, oh, forever ago now. It was at the end of 2019. And that was actually initially meant to be a collaboration. So a friend of mine, Tyler, he arranged the guitar on that track, and then me and my producer did like the drums and the synth work. It ended up not being a collaboration with the other artist on the track, but I wrote everything in like one day, recorded it in almost one take, and it is still, when I listen to it, it's one of my favorite things I've done. It just, everything works together so cohesively.
Is there a lot of local musicians in Salt Lake City?
Yeah, we actually have a huge, thriving musician scene, honestly. I think we're very overlooked in that regard. Of course, we've been known for having the Sundance Film Festival. We're very known for film, but with music, we have a really wonderful music scene, and so many of the artists that play locally are incredibly talented. I've been lucky to be friends with many of them.
Have you done any shows with them, in Salt Lake City?
Yeah, definitely. When I'm doing a headlining show, I get my local musician friends on the bill, and they do the same thing with me, and we just try to uplift each other.
Well, that's good. That's what they do here in Kansas City.
That's good. It's better that way.
Yeah, yeah, because everybody knows each other and they just put a show together.
hmm
Who is your big influence?
That's always so hard to say. I feel like I have a lot of influences that don't directly translate to how my music actually sounds. I feel like they're more like a vibe or an approach influence. So, like for me, the artists that inspire me the most are like Stevie Nicks, Metallica, Typo Negative, when I was younger, Nirvana, or like the Pretty Reckless, and even a little bit of Lana Del Rey. I think I really gravitate to people that are, they know what they've got going on. You know what I mean? They have such a
Yeah.
defined sound and brand, so you're able to immerse yourself in the musical world that they've created. So I would say artists like that have inspired me primarily.
Who would you want to go on tour with if you got the chance to?
Well, if we're talking high level, like big dreams, right? I would love to go on tour with like Miley Cyrus. I think that would be really fun. She's an incredible artist. If we're talking a little bit more attainable, I have some friends in a band called Future Ex Boyfriend. I think we'd have a really fun time being on tour together.
I guess with that new song that just came out.
Yeah, I just put out a song literally today. You're the first person to interview me since it's been out. And it's called Famous by Accident. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with that. Maybe I'll get on a tour, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Do they play? What kind of style of music do they play?
They're like alternative, kind of trippy psychedelic rock. And they just have a really cool vibe. Again, they're another artist that has really found their pocket, but they're still able to get outside of their comfort zone and try new things. Highly recommend everyone check out Future Ex Boyfriend if you haven't.
So, but like, where do you record at? Like, if you have do you go in your house, or do you go to a studio to write all your songs out?
Um, well, so when I'm writing my music and I'm making demos, I do it all here. I have a microphone next to me. You might be able to see there. I do it all here in my office, and then I take it to different producers. So I work with two local producers primarily. One, his name's Nate Pfeiffer. He's incredible. He's at June Audio in Provo, Utah. They've recorded like June Audio's recorded like Post Malone, some really wonderful names. Brandon Flowers from The Killers. And then I also work with my friend Tyler, who's the lead singer of Future Ex Boyfriend. That's kind of his brainchild, and um, he's he didn't do Famous by Accident. Nate Pfeiffer did, but he did a lot of the music that will be coming out, and some of my past stuff like Daddy, which is right now my most streamed song. He produced that.
Well, that's fun. That's fun. I do my own stuff as well,
Yeah.
so it
Do
keeps me
you? That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. It's more like indie pop, but it's like spoken word.
Oh, I really like that idea.
I mean, I
I
just
think more
rather
people, yeah.
should more people should do it. I feel like if they have the
Well,
chance to do it.
I agree. Well, I feel like you don't have to sing to make music. I used to do vocal coaching, and there was this guy, and he had a nice voice, but I remember one time I just wanted him to talk along while he played guitar, like saying his lyrics,
Mm.
because he was having a hard time playing and singing. And it sounded so incredible. I'm like, don't stop singing, but definitely that you should do this. It just sounds so freaking cool. So I always tell people you really don't need to be, you don't need to sing necessarily to make cool music.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
working on another album. It's taking forever, but I mean, I have a full length on Apple Music, but with some songs
Really?
I
What's it
wrote.
called?
It's called Begin.
Begin. Awesome. I'll have to check it out.
It has like 12 songs on it.
That's a good number.
I mean, I wrote it all through college, and then I got it produced in college, and then I kind of with a friend of mine, and then just let it just take it take it step by step by doing
Hmm.
lyric videos and all that fun stuff, and then just taking it out once in a while.
Well, that's cool. But I mean, the great thing about music is it's immortal. Once it's
Yeah,
out there, it's out there. So it's fun. You get to revisit it.
yeah. So, do you have any shows coming up in Salt Lake City with this new song?
Yes. Yes. So I have taken a little bit of a hiatus from shows because I was wanting to finish my project and my music for the year. But I have a release show for an upcoming EP on the 23rd of August in Salt Lake. It's actually being combined with a festival called Mind the Gap, which is woman and queer centered here in Salt Lake. Really cool festival. They've only done it for a couple of years. And so we're combining that, and I think it's going to be a really fun show, doing the full band, backup dancers. It'll be cool.
Is this your first time having backup dancers?
Yeah, actually, it is. I had them in a music video for a song I'm going to be releasing in 2 months. And I was like, I think I need you guys on stage with me because it was so cool. It added a lot of elements to the visual that I've never really had on stage before.
Sounds that the song sounds very interesting, but I'm gonna get into it when I get off. Get
Yeah.
off. So, is that the only new song that's on this? You're trying to put out a new EP or demo?
Well, I put out Famous by Accident today. I have two more singles that will be coming out in the next 2 months, and then I'm dropping the EP on the 23rd of August. And I haven't announced the name or anything of it just yet, but there will be two additional songs on that EP, and very happy with all of it. It's taken about 2 years. All the music I'll be releasing this year, even outside of the EP, it's been like a 2 year process to get it all together. As you know, it takes forever sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's trying to get a song up on Spotify because the I guess feels like Spotify is taking all your money for some reason. Um, Getting it up there.
Well, yeah. I mean, streaming revenue is pretty unimpressive for sure. I think
Yeah,
the majority of us make something like 0.006 cents per stream. I got
yeah.
almost like a million streams last year, and I think I made $4,000 off of a million streams, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. Because if a million people bought the song, then you'd have $1 million.
Oh, that's nice. A nice bit of money. Mostly get like sometimes I get in my like maybe $2 or $3, but I mean not a lot. But I mean not a lot of people listen to my music that often. I guess I have to make it
Well, it
really
just
good.
takes one song. Yeah.
But let me see what else the questions I have on this list. So like, do you have any songs featured any TV shows or movies or series?
No, not yet. No, not yet. That's definitely something I would love to do. I feel like I have some songs I've put out that I could see in television or film, and some of the stuff that I will be releasing, but I've never had a sync deal before. Though I've heard that is definitely where the real money is, as opposed to the streaming revenue.
Yeah, I have a friend that she had her song on a couple of series and TV shows like Dance Mom she
Cool.
was on and such. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
That's
um,
really cool.
yeah, it is. It's totally awesome that how they do all that kind of in sync kind of things to get their songs out there.
Hmm. No, I totally agree. It's an interesting world I haven't traversed and I'm not horribly familiar with, but it's fun to see it happen.
Um, what describes your music?
I would describe my past music as being like dark synth pop. The stuff that's going to be coming out definitely, Famous by Accident is just a rock song for sure. It's just an alt rock song. But some of the stuff that's going to be coming out on the EP and even after that, they still are adjacent to that synth pop kind of vibe. But I'm starting to go in a more rock direction. So I'd say dark synth pop with a rock edge mostly.
Is there like any kind of like how do you write a song? Like on like is there like a different
Um,
way you do it?
I typically it's about the same process. Normally is what will happen is I'll sit down, I'll have an idea of what I want to write about, and then the instrumental melody and like the vocal melody and the lyrics tend to arise simultaneously because for me the melody and the lyrics are very integral to one another and they serve each other. So I've always really liked writing them at the same time. But once in a while, I'll get an idea for a melody or lyrics completely separately, and then I explore that and add the other components later. But typically, they arise at the same time.
Do you have a favorite like a different like when you're in the studio? Do you have a favorite like system you like to use, like a loop pedal or a just a really cool kind of sound that goes with the with your song?
Good question. In the studio, I've never used a loop pedal or anything like that, but I tend to really love those rich, warm 80s synths. I love Moogs. Or like an old Roland or something like that. So when I'm in the studio, pretty much all my songs at some point, I'm going to be incorporating some kind of vintage synth at some point, giving it that slight little 80s sound underneath, pretty much without fail. On almost every song, I'm like, you know what this part needs? It needs a vintage synth.
Well, that's, I mean, 'cause some of these songs that I've been hearing, there's a lot of, they have, they come up with these interesting ideas in the studio with pianos and just
Hmm.
random, like, charms or something. I don't know, just random kind of stuff, and it's kind of cool to have on a song because you hear sometimes you hear baby voices, but sometimes you hear like just random people talking in the background. Um,
Yeah, it's fun to hear how people incorporate different elements, like you said, like voices or even like real world sound effects, wind, birds. It's fun. One of my friends one time made a synth by sampling a dolphin, and it was a really cool sound. It didn't sound like a dolphin anymore, but I'm like, I would have never thought to do that. That's really cool.
yeah, well, one of my songs has ocean in there from real ocean, but
Hmm.
so I mean, one of my songs is called Ocean, so there you go. Um,
Oh, nice. Very thematically coherent.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's about a girl that I kind of liked in college, and then the song came out that talked about her, but you
Oh,
can't
nice.
find, you can't really hear like her name is not in there, but it's just like her name is the ocean. So I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with some crazy ideas with that song.
Oh, that's the. I actually had the ocean in one of my songs. It's called Away. It was on my first EP. And the intro comes in with the sound of waves. So we're on the same wavelength there with the ocean sounds.
I mean, it's perfect when you live by the ocean.
Yeah, I don't, but
Well,
we got the sound anyway.
I used to like in the East Coast. There's a ocean. Um,
Yeah.
um, so like, what kind of is there anything you're like very interested in like in the about like your music? Is there anything new that we haven't heard that we should be hearing?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of new stuff coming out that people definitely haven't heard, and it's just leaning more into that rock sort of vein that I've felt inclined to start writing in. So I'm really excited for people to hear this transformation, honestly, because a lot of what I've been doing, especially Famous by Accident, is a pretty big departure from the stuff that I've released over the last 5 years. So it'll be interesting to see how people react to it and enjoy it, hopefully.
So, is there like how do you write your songs? Like, is there a like like how do you come up with all the those lyrics?
The lyrics. Well, what I'll do is I'll pick whichever instrument I feel like writing on. I play keys and guitar. And like with Famous by Accident, I had my guitar and I wrote it right after having a kind of shit show of a gig, excuse my language, in LA. Um, and feeling kind of frustrated with the direction my online presence had taken after I had a video go super viral. Um, and so I just like sat down on the guitar, and this is normally how my songs come about is I just start riffing. So I just kind of free form, I'm singing my thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because I make comedy videos online, sometimes my lyrics can skew kind of comical, especially these days. And so like with Famous by Accident, which I think is a like a good song, it's a solid song, but it's also funny. That's what was happening is that these funny words and these funny lines were just coming out paired with my real genuine emotions. And the comedy of it is genuine to me as well. And I never actually planned to put it out. I posted it on Instagram and then people really liked it. And I thought, well, why the hell not? I might as well put it out. But that's kind of my process is I just riff. And then if I like something, I write it down or I do a voice memo and I come back to it later. But I just let the brain do whatever it wants to do. I'm like a vessel for the lyrics, for lack of a better term.
So, how did you come up with your name for your solo stuff?
Cera Gibson.
Yeah.
Well, so my name is Cera Gibson, but the way my first name is spelled is different. That's not how it's spelled on my passport. And the reason why I changed the first name spelling was actually for search engine optimization, which sounds incredibly unromantic. But when you type in Sarah Gibson on Google, the traditionally spelled, I wasn't even in the first like 1,000 search results because there's 100,000 people with my name just in the US. So
Uh,
I decided that by changing the spelling of my first name, that would be better for people trying to find me. And it was because now I'm the only one with that spelling, first and last name. And so when you type in my name, I am the top result on Google. So it worked.
well, that's perfect. It's kind of hard for me because there's so many Daniels, and it's so
A
annoying.
lot of Daniels.
Yeah.
That's like with Sarah. There's so many Sarahs. Both names are, people love naming their babies Daniel and Sarah.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I guess it's a Bible verse or something. I don't know.
They're Bible names.
But I mean, it's cool though. But it's just annoying
Yeah.
sometimes. I mean, people asked me the last time I somebody that was a musician. He kind of got in contact with me and he said, "Oh, can you change your name?" And I said, "No, I'm not changing my name. I'm keeping it." So I don't know.
Can you
Random.
change your name?
I mean, it's. I think it's be hard to change your name on Spotify because it's already
Yeah, no, it is.
it's just a process. Um,
I actually, before I added my last name back onto my name, it was just Cera, so just Sarah. And there was a band also called Sarah, and because Sarah actually means wax in Portuguese, I found out. And so it's just like a word. And so that word was this other band's name. And so all of our music was under the same artist page. There was their music and my music, and I didn't know how to separate it out. I didn't know about Spotify for artists back then. This was like 2015 or something. And so a few years later, I decided now that I'm putting out new music, I'm going to put my last name back onto my name. I wanted to have a share moment, but it wasn't in the cards. And Sarah Gibson ended up just working great. But I fully relate to that because it is very hard to change your name on Spotify and you kind of have to do a whole rebrand.
well, I guess they're gonna have to do something like that in the future. I I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just annoying just seeing like my name in like the feed, but then my music gets a little like on the left side because everybody's putting their music up, and I can't really find my music really. If I, it's kind of
Yeah, that
sad.
is. You might need to come up with an artist name that isn't Daniel.
Yeah, yeah. That could be it. Um,
And then it won't get lost. You can just find it on the first search.
yeah. Um, do you have anything else you want to talk about? Like anything were thinking of talking about?
Oh, no, that you asked great questions. I feel like that was everything that I would have wanted to discuss, but thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on and doing this with me.
Absolutely. It was fun. This is my first interview from my song dropping, so thank you for having me. And yeah, it was great to meet you.
You too. If you're ever in Kansas City with the new song or your new album, I would love to come and see you live in person in Kansas City.
Oh,
And
yeah. I'll let you know when I'm in Kansas City.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Have a great day. Thank you so much for being a part of Two Guys in Sound System.
Of course. Bye.
Bye.